right, we're back. I've got we spoke off earlier a little bit about this topic also. There's an elephant in the room around this team and the how do I want to say this? The Mississippi State game and our players and how they conducted themselves. It was brought to my attention, so I'm gonna let H shed some light on this and shed his thoughts on this.
Yeah, looking at the press conference after the game, there was a reporter. There was a question that was brought up regarding coming back out of halftime. There was substantiated or unsubstantiated, but the question was still raised about some of the players, the defensive starters or some starters interacting with some of the POM cheerleaders from the opposing team, Mississippi State, where they were apparently talking to some of them and exchanging the numbers or something of rather to that nature, which is very disappointing whether it's substantiated or not. That is definitely not the focus. The halftime score was what, 17-6 or 17-3?
17-3 or 17-6.
Yeah. So you come in, it was 17-6, I believe. But when you coming out of halftime, the game, you get the ball
out of halftime,
and your focus should be on, okay, what do I have to do to climb back into this game? To have that question even raised, for that to even be a question, is beyond disappointing. Whether it happened or not, I don't know. I wasn't there, but just for if that question is being raised, but there's something had to be put out there from those guys and the way they conducted themselves.
Perception is king a lot of the time.
Correct. To even be perceived that your focus is on anything other than the game, that you're going to fight and try to come back and win this ball game on the road, is beyond disappointing for
17-6, 17-3.
Game wasn't
receiving the ball back. If you score there, field goal or touchdown, you're right back in this game.
You're right back into the game.
And then you think, just hindsight 2020, it is what it is. But to think that this happened at halftime or coming out of halftime, and then you lay the egg from 11-19 on, you checked out.
Definitely, definitely not the way you want to conduct business, and I'm sure that that's going to be addressed with this coaching staff. With some of those guys, I would say that maybe you may see a couple of guys on defense that possibly may be sitting. You may see some interchanging parts.
That's a good question. In our times, what happens to a guy in our era when we played under Houston, if this gets reported, if he has to field a question like that, what would have possibly happened to an athlete back then?
You probably gonna miss some time. Whether I think the ultimate I don't want to say punishment, but the ultimate repercussion of someone straying away from the team or away from the goal that you have is ultimately to win a ball game, is when you have to come and sit down and sit on that sideline. I think that is the ultimate, okay, this is not going to go on my watch sort of thing. So
I've got to sitting here thinking as you talk, I'm having problems trying to understand an athlete on a 2-8 at this time, going on to be a 2-9 team, to have the mental capacity to say, maybe that's because you have checked out, to say, hey, I'm going to talk to the cheerleaders, POM squad. Nothing's more attractive to me than success, right? So somebody on a winning team is who I would be. I don't get, you're getting thumped. At this time, you're not getting thumped, but to be trying to get telephone numbers, there's a loss of focus, loss of intensity. That's not hammered down in the fast lane.
Absolutely not. I think that comes down to self-discipline. But at the end of the day, I think the captain of the ship is probably always going to end up getting questioned on what type of of atmosphere for a team to be successful. That's always going to reflect back on the coach. But at this point, you're dealing with 19, 20, 21, 22-year-old young men.
Well, I mean, we spoke about it a little bit too. 18, 19, 20. They have some things we didn't have. Facebook, Instagram,
Correct.
all these social media things. So if this young lady really liked you, there's no reason she couldn't go to try to find my IG, my Facebook account, and I told you before, I had people that I went to elementary school with that when I came to college, they found me on the UArk.edu account. So if they really like you, they can see your number, see your name, get a media guide, and look you up,
right, and
find you later.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that's going to be addressed, but that is definitely not the focus. I'm beyond disappointed that we're even having to discuss this. I'm beyond disappointed that Coach Morris is having to take those questions on the lack of focus from and lack of really self-discipline from guys that are on your team that you are kind of dependent on to have a level of focus, especially on the road. I mean, you got a different. You have to have a different mindset when you're going on the road. So it's going to be interesting to see that lineup that we had starting, whether this report was defensive guys or offensive, whoever it was. If there's any changes, and then hopefully that's going to be the last that we have to even hear about that.
You think he sweeps this under? He makes his disciplinary actions, doesn't talk to it, or does he speak to this Monday and next week?
I'm sure it's probably going to come back up. Well, really, this is going to be a short week. You're thinking we're going into Thanksgiving at this point, so you're losing a day.
Right.
So it's good. Right now, you said it's a gut check time. This quoted from Chad Morris. This is gut check time. But you think that would have happened whenever we lost to Vanderbilt at home? You think that would have happened? The gut check would have came when we lost to North Texas. You're in game number 10, and we are talking about a gut check moment from a disappointed season, man. It is beyond conscionable at this point.
We're past that. Let's move on. We'll get back to that. We'll see what happens next week. We had two coaching changes over the last week. The first one is a guy we're pretty familiar with, Bobby Petrino, was released from Louisville. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, man, that was kind of the talk of college football when that report came out, that they were going to move forward and make that change. It is a delicate situation whenever you're talking about winning. A couple years ago, man, they were the crown, one of the crown jewels of college football. Had the Heisman Trophy winner.
Do you think he survived off of Charlie Strong's players a little bit?
Yeah, because the cupboard was definitely not bare.
Yeah, when he went there, he wasn't bare. I won't say it was stacked, but that was a winning program. He inherited a winning program.
Yeah, they were not bad talent there that what Charlie Strong had accumulated.
And the reason why I say, because Petrino traditionally is not known to be a recruiter.
Yeah.
Right. So
one of the most brilliant minds that we saw it here with the success in the short time that we had here. So for that to come down, I think Louisville was basically looking toward it. I know Brom is a player there, and he's coach at Purdue. So
they've had a bunch of changes though too from administrative. A lot of those guys are gone now. Then you have the fallout with basketball too.
Yeah.
So it's kind of he was the last of that regime, so to speak.
Yeah, and then when they made that AD change, I think that kind of
time was ticking.
Left him out there too. Whenever if you're not winning.
They said over the last month, 20 players had asked to be released. So you think that's a coaching style? Just he's got this real regimented coaching style that when it's working. But when you speak about momentum and coaching and leadership, then it takes that other turn I don't know if his style you put up with that.
Yeah, and the ultimate comfort level is winning. So when you're not winning, and then when you don't have you have a coach that's not known for being a warm and fuzzy personality, a grinder, just all football and not the pat you on the back, even when you're doing things positive. And then when you don't, and you still got that personality, and then you put that together when you're not winning, the results that you saw with him being shown the door is kind of the results of that.
All right, moving along, we got another guy we're somewhat familiar with too from LSU. He coached at Oklahoma State for a while. Michigan guy, Les Miles got a job this week, going to be a Kansas Jayhawk. What do you think about that?
I think from my point of view, I think Kansas may have hit may have struck gold and hit the.
Was that a home run with that?
Yeah, I would say that's a lot. I think Les Miles was kind of just waiting for an opportunity to return back to college football. A guy that was highly successful at LSU, and I think they made that change with them. And I think sometimes when you're calling for changes, you also have to be careful with what you.
Let me ask you this.
Ask for.
Is this more of a knockout for Kansas or Les Miles? Because coming from LSU, Les Miles winning 9-10 games a year and his job's in jeopardy. He does that at Kansas. They're going to put statues up.
Yeah. And what we talked about off air just a little bit, when they had Mangino in 2007, I want to say they lost one game. And then they beat a Virginia Tech team in that bowl. I want to say that was either the Orange Bowl or it was a high-level bowl game. So Aqib Talib was a part of that team. So they had some level of talent on that football team. So that's proven. But Mangino, you talk about being an offensive coach, and Les Miles is more of a defensive-minded. 3 yards in the cloud that does run it, but I think everybody.
Offensive lineman. So.
Right. Pretty much everybody runs the same offense now. So if he can bring that and just be successful, gotta go have to score some points though in that Big 12. So if he can get the right offensive coordinator and score some points there, and he might. I mean, you never know.
Is this Les saying, "Hey, I'm ready to get back into coaching"? At this type of program, traditionally this type of program, if I can win 7 to 8 to 9 games a year, can he ride this? Does he retire at Kansas, or does he use Kansas to get back somewhere else?
Well, that's a great question, Gerald, because you're talking about a 65-year-old individual. So, and also when you leave in LSU, and he was there for. The amount of time that he was there from 2005 to 2016, you had the best coaches, you got the best resources, you got facilities. Not only that, but I think that when you got the support from the boosters and the administration wise, and then you taking over a program like Kansas, I think they're going to be patient. They'll be patient with him and give him every opportunity to be successful for himself and for that university.
I think he's got a chance to come in and do some things there. I don't know if he'll be Bill Snyder-ish because of when he's taking on this program, but I think he's got the ability and the time to. They're gonna be patient with Les.
Right.
I don't think this is a deal where 3 years they're done with Les, unless it's horribly bad.
Yeah.
Right. But I think they're going to give him the reins and let him do what he needs to do. He's traditionally a good recruiter. So, and in Kansas, for Kansas to be successful, they've got to do their junior college program, and they've got to recruit North Texas well.
Absolutely.
So, and you spoke about Talib. Think they got to go steal players like that. So, which is kind of they'll probably be in hunt for the same athletes that we are here at Arkansas. So.
Yeah, I think so, because not all the top guys can go. I mean, you've been a Texas guy; they all can't go to Texas. And you know, a lot of boys grow up in that state. With Texas is kind of now Texas A&M is kind of, but now you got Baylor, now you got Houston you can go to. They all can't go there. So there's so many high schools there, but I mean, there's also to have a quick turnaround. They may have to look at. I mean, there's a number of highly successful, high-profile junior colleges in Kansas.
Correct. Yep.
So I would envision that they would possibly go that route. Make no mistake, that's a basketball hotbed.
This is true.
School. So
this is true.
I think that he should be given every opportunity to try to right that ship and turn everything around it. What Kansas has, football wise, anyway.
On that note, man, you got any parting shots?
Well, we're going into the Thanksgiving, the holiday season. I just want to say everybody traveling to and from their destination, the highways and byways, that everybody's safe, returning back. I'll be headed to Malvern to spend time with my family, so looking forward to that. Man, this is just a time to be thankful. I think that me and my wife had talked about this area, man. There's a lot of food insecurity, so in this state, you think as fluid as Northwest Arkansas is, you think that 1 in 4, which is should not be, but I mean it is what it is. 1 in 4 people or kids in this area are going to bed hungry. So when we are feasting over the turkey and gorging ourselves with the amounts of food
and throwing leftovers away,
and eating the cakes and the pies, give thanks and be thankful that you were able to do that. So that's just kind of that's kind of something I've been thinking about and being mindful of, and just want to give thanks during this time and just being able to have the luxuries that I'm and my family is going to be afforded. I know there's some that are less fortunate to have that opportunity.
Well, I want to say I appreciate you stopping through, man. It's always a blast.
Oh yeah.
Get together, and we was gonna do it anyway, right? So
absolutely. We spent
on.
40 minutes
before we turn the mic
before we turn the mic off. So man, that comes natural.
So, I just want to say I really appreciate it, man. And we may do another episode, but if not, this is our final episode for season 2. And we'll see you guys, if not for a follow up in season 3. It's been a blast.
All right. Thanks again.